Hello. Aloha.
Aloha!
This is Medium Betsy Palmer. Everybody, please
Already.
welcome. Oh, look, and she's ready. She's ready. Ah! Mm-hmm. There you go. And okay, I have to ask this. Exactly what does aloha mean?
Okay. We're all accustomed to what TV tells us that it means hello and goodbye. Actually, when you break the word apart, aloha. Ha is the breath of life, and it is also the another one of the definitions of the word is love. So when Polynesian peoples greet, typically there is touching with the forehead, the nose. In Hawaii, it was cheek to cheek. And this is the exchange of breath. When you greet
Mm,
someone, you're exchanging love and you're exchanging the breath of life. So
wow.
it's a really powerful word. And that's the nutshell version of it. Because, yeah.
That's incredible. Thank you.
Look, Jonathan's
Thank
here. He's on vacation and he's here. Hi, Jonathan.
Jonathan is here. Oh my gosh. Hi, Jonathan. Okay. Going to catch up on chat because, well,
There's a
everybody
lot of people
welcome.
to say hi to.
Yes, this is a laugh and learn with Medium Betsy Palmer. We're talking about mediumship. And throughout this, I'm paying attention for other laugh and learn possibilities with Betsy. So, and all of her links are below, including um, links to the readings that we've done with Jonathan. And we'll be with Jonathan, what, in a week again, doing readings with him,
Um,
I think.
the 26th.
Okay,
Oh,
so we'll be doing that. So that'll be fun. So anyhow, um, Medium Betsy Palmer, like and subscribe, people. And I just saw my notice pop. So
yeah, I'm
Teresa
waiting
was
for
here first. Hello. Are you waiting for yours
Aloha.
to pop? Yes.
Yeah, I want it. So if I need to chat in here, we'll see.
Yeah. And by the way, you're already being a wonderful guest that you see a chat and you want to bring it up, please do so.
Okay.
So Tarot Living with Manasa is here. Hello, Manasa.
Hi,
Going
Manasa.
into a meeting. Thank you for watching the playback.
Great
Man-
chat yesterday, Manasa. Thank you.
Thank you. It really was good, wasn't it? It was like, wow. So, and Jane the Seeker is here, Jane the Seeker Tarot, and she's actually helping some people learn. And this just in, Tuesdays with Tarot Stash, exclusively on Jane the Seeker Tarot, will be returning next Tuesday at the same time. So, there we go. And Heather Indigo Chrysalis Tarot, who is my newest moderator and who is already putting in links. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Kudos to you. Yes. Lisa Stevens is here. Hi, Lisa. So good to have you here. And yeah, I've been wrenched. I've been wrenched. So, and my chat has just
Thank you.
jumped, and so that's good.
Espacio Rising, Beth is here.
Yes, and Tortoiseshell Nancy, whose name I believe, Tortoiseshell Moon, whose name I believe is Nancy. Is that correct? Gigi is here.
Hi, Gigi.
Jonathan, I hope you're having a wonderful vacation. Thank you for the photos. Beth, Espasia Rising. Amy's smiling love and light. Ben and I are supposed to be on her channel in a couple of weeks on a Friday, so looking forward to that.
Cool.
Jonathan is having a slightly lazy day and saw the pop-up and had to come spread some aloha. Thank you. Pamela Batchelor is here. Hello, Pamela. Naomi is here. Hello, Naomi. This is Betsy Palmer, Medium Betsy Palmer. Galaxy is here. Hi, Galaxy. First time I've seen you. Welcome.
Yeah, I don't know Galaxy either. Thanks for coming.
Yes. just watched the hearing, and now I'm stress eating. LOL. Got to stop now and focus on some of this good energy. Yes.
Good choice.
Yes.
We support
Yes.
you.
Yes, we support that. Yes. Emma the Gray is here. Hello.
Work lurking. I'm the Friday work lurker on Amber's channel.
Yeah, Friday work lurker. So I love that. Love the outfit coordination on both of you, by the way.
We got the memo.
Well, you know, and to be honest with you, it just sort of happened because, you know, we are connected. There's a connection between us. We'll both admit it, or I will admit it freely. And so it's Kathy. Kathy, thank you.
That's
Kathy.
cool. You know, with a name
Right.
like Betsy, I get called a lot of things, so I just tell people that I will answer to anything that starts with a B, including that one.
Well, isn't that a babe in total control of herself?
Yeah, I guess so.
So, okay.
Thank you.
Kathy, thank you. And everybody, thank you so much for being here. Oh, Betsy, your necklace looks wonderful on you. And Gerald, show us your entire necklace, please. It is a crystal grid necklace. It is my howlite necklace. And I wear this one. Jonathan made this. And I wear this one oftentimes in combination with the one that I have specifically for ancestors. It grounds me and sort of, I don't have to say sort of, it levels up the energy, it balances them, and I get to sit in between the two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, I love it.
So I love howlite too.
I'll give a little bit of this. There was a couple of comments about this.
Oh, that is beautiful.
This is Aurora, goddess of the dawn. My sister gave this to me about 30 years ago, and I've only been wearing her for probably 10 or 15 of those years. I added this stone. It's a white topaz. And before that, I couldn't wear her. She was so powerful, I couldn't do it. It just would freak me out. And she's made of some kind of a porcelain material that my friend that added the stone, who is a very good goldsmith, could not identify. And he said, this is so strong, he couldn't drill into it to make this area bigger. He just had to work within the image itself. So, and then we have the little full moon faces on. So, yeah, thank you, guys.
Yeah, lots of love for that. And Heather loves the rose painting behind you, Betsy.
Good old Ross. And then we have blue fox and coyote tail and some little helpers up above. But yeah, good old Ross. It can be yours.
Oh. Well,
I'm sure it's a Ross waiting for you if you like it.
Yeah. This is something that, so Betsy and I were going to talk about being a medium and mediumship. So if you have questions, I have 7 questions or so lined up. But if you have questions, please put them in capitals, maybe some emojis around them so that I could capture them. We'll try to answer all of them. And we're talking about jewelry and accoutrement, things that help us. Yes. Is that something that you do just because you are Medium Betsy Palmer, or is it something that all mediums do? And I know the answer to this already, so.
Yeah, for me, I'm a jewelry girl. It's in my genes, and it just and I of course I love crystals. I love the vibes of things. So it's a beautiful symbiotic relationship there. Just the more the merrier.
Yeah. And I think it's just like with anything, when people who do magical work where they're connected to a higher source, a higher power, God, goddess, sometimes those pieces of jewelry help that connection. It's part of the ritual.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. I went to Catholic church for a long time, served in mass, and talk about getting into and getting dressed was a significant portion of the service. So
Yes,
um,
as you're stepping into the role, it helps you become physically, emotionally, energetically, mentally at one with that role. Yeah,
mhm,
absolutely.
yes. And Naomi said, I have an aqua aura crystal necklace that I always travel with. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And Heather, I have your question highlighted because we'll get that. And so let's jump in, shall we?
Hang on, I'm turning my phone off because all of a sudden stuff is starting to come in, and you know how that goes when you want to focus, right? And then this little bugger starts wanting to draw the attention, so we get to make that choice.
Yep. Yes. So my first question is what is a medium and can one learn to be a medium? So
Great place to start. So, a
mhm,
medium, as I understand it, now other people I'm sure you can find people that have other opinions on this. For me, a medium is a person that communicates with our loved ones that are no longer in physical form. And that can
mhm.
be humans, that can be pets, and that can, I think, can be objects.
Okay. Okay. So can one learn to be a medium, which is also the question that Heather asked.
I believe so. I think we are all born intuitive. We're all energetic beings. And if it is something that you want that resonates with you, I do believe you can develop that
Hmm.
aspect of yourself. I don't know that it's limited to people at all. I know I have met people who really wanted it, and I have and seem to exude this ability. And of course, we see them on in media as well, and on television and print and film, whatever. I've also seen people that had no inkling at all that they have an ability in this, and my guides will communicate to me that they have it and they can do whatever they want with it. And sometimes people don't hear it at all. They don't wake up to that at all. So,
Hmm. So it's something that is then what you're saying is being a medium, being able to communicate with those who are no longer in this physical world. Some people have a natural tendency for it. However, it's up to them on whether or not they start that journey or they
mhm,
decide to pick up that journey.
yeah.
So,
And
okay.
I'm getting prompted to do an ad right here, a little addition to this. I know James Van Praagh is a very famous medium, and in the 90s, I remember in a book, he said he did not feel like there was any such thing as reincarnation because he was able to contact people on the other side that had passed at any time and they were never gone. But
Hmm.
I have a mm, I get the information when someone that we knew in human form is no longer holding that space, wherever that location
Okay.
was that they went to, that they are gone. And I will see it as the figure standing with their back to me, looking over their shoulder. And this is telling
Hmm.
me that their focus is no longer there on Earth in that lifetime, that they've moved on to something else. What that something else is can be a lot of different things. So I
Okay.
believe that even if someone has reincarnated as a human and is living a three-dimensional life, I believe we can still communicate with that part of their consciousness that we remember.
Okay. Okay. And I'm just saying okay
Hi,
because
Silky.
that's the sort of thing that's going on. Silky is here. Hello. And Jonathan has, bless him, has linked your book, which is You Are Gifted, the workbook. And when you and I spoke, I think it's been almost a year ago, to be honest with you. You were very clear, and I agree with you, because words matter. And so when we say, "Oh, I'm weird," I'm strange, Well, no. Instead, why don't you say, I'm gifted? This is a gift that I have. And I'm a huge supporter of thinking about the things that make us feel different than everybody else. They're actually gifts because they give us an opportunity to observe something that others don't.
Yeah. So many times I get to meet people who are in some kind of an awakening process, or they've started receiving messages and signs from a loved one, and the first thing out of their mouth is, "You're going to think this is crazy," or
Yeah.
"You're going to think I'm crazy." And I right away, sorry, that word's banished. You cannot use that word again right here, right now. If you're sitting here talking to me, exchange every time you want to say the word crazy, I want you to change it to gift.
Hmm. Yeah. I agree with you. And Beth said, I like that you included objects in that definition, Betsy, because getting messages from objects is my strongest clair.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, we had talked briefly about the clairs. That's a whole different series of that. There's so many clairs. So,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
and
Psychometry is fun, though. Yeah, psychometry is
yes,
fun. I had a
yes.
student that did my workshop with me one on one, and came to the point where for her to start picking up on some of the clairs. You know, how do you find which clair is your strong suit? So I gave her 5 objects of mine to read. She'd never even heard of psychometry, and she read every single one perfectly. So we're like, well,
Wow. That's
let's just
amazing.
add a check to that box for you there, dear.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Um, Kathy said, where is a good place to start? I've got that one starred. Do you want to talk about that one now, or do you want to go to our next banner questions?
Let's do the next banner question, and we can circle back.
Okay. Because, okay, so we talked about what is a medium, but what is a channeler or a channeler, and how is that similar or different to being a medium?
The line gets a little blurry on this one.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I know the word channel, channeler, or being a channel came into my awareness in the kind of mid to latter 1980s. And at that time, a channeler was someone who seemingly went into a trance state and a different being spoke out through them. Um, that's a very literal and kind of a narrow description of a channel. To me, that kind of
Mm-hmm.
borderlines a little bit on possession. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if you're stepping outside of your body and allowing another being to animate and speak for you. Not that it's not always a bad thing. I mean, Esther Hicks has been channeling Abraham for a long time, and she's
Mm-hmm.
amazing. I think myself, though, that a channel is someone who communicates with many types of non physical entities and
Mm-hmm.
allows their message to be brought through them and shared. So the physical body that is sitting there is a conduit for and allowing other entities, other beings to spread their message to whoever needed to hear it at that time. And I think
Okay.
you can channel pretty much unlimited types of beings.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I don't even think that it has to be something that's not in form. I know I did an interview when I was trying to get on as a reader in Sedona. I interviewed with the store manager, and the sitting Pope delivered a message to her.
Okay.
So, was that a channeled message? I think so.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So medium, a channel is somebody who I like the word conduit.
Yeah.
I think, and that's slightly different than a medium in the sense that a conduit makes themselves open and then whatever comes through comes through. A
Yeah.
medium, you have some sort of direction around it.
Um, as a medium, I don't want a being to use my body as their vehicle for expression.
Mm-hmm.
I want to receive the message and be able to share that. So, like I
Okay.
said, it's the line gets a little blurry there.
Sure.
Some people I'm sure could lump it all together. Some people would have a very, very broad definition.
Mm-hmm.
But the longer I do this job, the less I know and the fewer absolutes I have, because
Sure.
I've in a session having no idea who I'm going to talk to or what's going to come up. Things will come through that I never imagined could exist, and it makes perfect sense to the other person.
Okay. And I think that that's something that as you develop time, you have develop your own personal approach to this. It's like reading tarot. Everybody
Sure.
does it differently, and there's one way is not better or worse than the other. They're just different.
Yeah.
So,
What works for you is the right path. That's what I believe.
yes, yes. So, how are those different than being an empath?
Cool. This is a really good question, because empath was a buzzword throughout lockdown
Mm-hmm.
and last year. It was just such a huge buzzword. It was everywhere. An empath, to me, is a person who can sense the emotions and the energies of people, places, and things. This
Mm-hmm.
is a lot of times what's interesting, I find, is that your family role plays a big part in this. Where were you in the pecking order, in the birth order in your family? What was your role? I find a lot of people that are empaths were raised in a family where they did a lot of emotional work for other people who weren't so in touch with their emotions. That there was
Mm.
somebody, if there's this big block of emotion and there's only 20% of the people that are willing to deal with it. There's 80% of emotions flying around in this space. What's going to
Mm-hmm.
happen to that? And we all know that that can feel really uncomfortable when you're sitting in a room with someone. There's the conversation that needs to happen and you're both unwilling to bring it up. That emotional energetic tension can be very uncomfortable or feel very pressing on you.
Yes.
So I think the people that grew up doing a lot of emotional work for the others around them are the ones that carry this with them out into the world.
Yeah.
Um,
Jonathan's holding up his hand.
yeah, right, right. And the
Yeah.
family scapegoat. Boy, if you were the family scapegoat, you already know you're an empath if you were the family scapegoat, because you can
Okay.
fix anything. You can come into any kind of tense situation and you can diffuse it, or run the other direction, hightail it out of there. So yeah, I believe that an empath can tell what other people are feeling. I believe an empath can read others' energies about people's motivations and intentions. Light or dark, what side of the force are they working with there? I think we
Mm-hmm.
can also pick this up on places, dwellings, any kind of area, and things, as we were talking about before with psychometry. I think you can just look at something. I mean, we all look at a crystal and we are like, my God, I have to touch that. You're picking it
Yes.
up. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I just want to just catching up. Heather said I need to develop to be a better reader and intuitive healing artist, because Heather is an artist, indigo chrysalis,
Sweet.
uh, and and Miss Charlotte is here. Hello, Miss Charlotte.
And I did see Jamie pop in. Hi, Jamie.
Yes, and okay, because Beth had read one of James's books. Joe is here, The Power of Purpose. Joe was with me yesterday for a laugh and learn about grief and mourning, which was amazing. So lurking and working. So completely get it.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, Jonathan said it's funny because I've lived several places that sold bumper stickers. Keep blank weird. Keep
Yeah.
Santa Cruz weird. Keep
Keep Portland
Portland,
weird. Yeah.
weird. Yeah, yeah. And I'm more of a channeler than a medium, or at least that's what I feel, says Jonathan. I think it takes a really strong person to be able to channel, like real fortitude and being very grounded, very, very grounded.
Funny you brought that word up.
Yes, 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 because grounding is an important thing. And Betsy and I were talking about the possibility for a future Laugh and Learn specifically about grounding. If
Yeah.
that's something that you'd like, let us know, leave a comment, thumbs up, do that. So, hi, Jamie. So,
Yeah, that's we were talking about that's the word we all hear and we're all so familiar with it. It's all like, oh yeah.
yeah, what does
Yeah,
it
that.
mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh that. Yeah, I'm that I yeah.
yeah. Gigi said, I'm definitely always fully present when I channel, even if I'm only translator, but let them speak through me. I thought for a long time that it wasn't legit. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a pretty common statement. I would echo
mhm,
that as well.
yeah. And Heather said possession is quite real. It is quite real. I
Yeah.
agree with that 110%.
And
So,
guess what, folks? That's a volunteer position.
yes, it is. And I have learned in my experiences over the last 5 years that ground rules and sticking to your ground rules is very important.
Yes, absolutely.
So, yes, cheers. Um, Kathy said, I'm an empath and often feel physical pain of others too.
Yeah. Well,
So,
that's a really that can be a really helpful skill. Um, if it's something that gets in the way or is disruptive for you, I think there's probably some things that you can do around that. But if you're someone who is like a medical intuitive or this is part of your business, I'm sure this is an amazing tool to help you really understand what's going on.
yes. My high priestess is an incredible healer, and she will oftentimes, as she's working with people, will sense in her body where the pain is because it
Hmm.
helps her to be able to do what she needs to do. And she has a lot of rituals and cleansing that she does and grounding to keep herself safe.
Yeah.
So,
I know there's a really famous animal communicator that struggles with um, perceiving the suffering of the world.
mm,
And to me, I don't know that I want that. I mean, I can feel it. There's been times, which is why I dug out I have a lavender jade bangle. I
hmm,
dug that out because I was going through this period where I was catching all the weirdness and the suffering in the world last year in 2021 when we were thinking we were all supposed to be okay by now. And I started
yeah,
picking up a lot of it. So the constant companion for a while until I got past
hmm,
that.
yeah. Lisa Stevens says, Betsy is singing my song. I've never heard that perspective. So,
Sweet.
and okay, I think big yes for the grounding, grounding, grounding.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
I can
yes,
talk about
please.
that. No problem.
Yeah, yes. So, Selkie is going off with the fairies is not fun. Always ground before any work to be done, especially with the fae and the fairies, because they will take you on a journey that you will not realize how long you've been gone. So, it's like, that's incredible. So, um,
And the last question from Indigo Chrysalis Tarot. Are you still an empath if you can't feel another's physical pain? Well, yeah, absolutely.
mhm,
Because that's not the only sensation that we experience. You can have
yes.
the joy, you can have the um, anxiety, you can have the fear, you can also have like the blank. Some people you are
Hmm.
they're just blank. So
Yes.
there's a full spectrum of sensations to experience with others' energy, just as with yours. So just because you're not tapping into the pain doesn't mean that you're not a whole anything. It just means
Yes.
that's your boundaries, or that's not your purpose. That's not what you're here to do.
Or it's not how you experience their energy.
Yeah.
So Jonathan's heading out. Bye, Jonathan.
Bye, Jonathan. Have fun.
Um, so, um, so, anything you want to add? I mean, there's been a lot of stuff in the chat, and our next thing is with what types of beings do mediums communicate? And you want to talk about that, or yeah,
Sure.
Betsy,
Yeah.
open your mouth and just let whatever comes out, because it's engaging. It's okay.
Okay.
I'm the host.
Yeah. No problem. Yeah. Anybody that knows me knows that I was born without a filter. So if it's in my head, it just comes out.
There you go.
What types of beings do mediums communicate with? Well, I myself, I get the gamut. What kind of beings? All of the above. I mean, like I said, a sitting human pope came through once. So I get people that are alive on Earth. I get people who are ghosts in my mind. That seems like the fourth dimension. Former humans are pets that we knew here on Earth. And I don't know how to explain this, and please don't think that I should be quoted on this. Some lower level guides and entities that are strictly helpers, that are so dedicated to helping humans that they are so close to the third dimension that they're not really like heaven or source or anything. They are just so closely aligned to humans that they're just like right above us. That's how it translates for me. And I would say that those are guardian angels or guardians and teachers, mentors of some type.
Okay.
Companions, like the guides that are people that know they've had a guide with them for their entire life that they met as a young child. That to me is the kind of being who is kind of in the same place with ghosts and crossed overs. Then we go up higher or farther away, and then it's everything: archangels, former teachers, messiahs, gods and goddesses that had relationships with Earth. And then it just goes even farther. The beings that really have not ever incarnated on Earth and still have a role and a purpose here. Celestial beings and other beings that have never incarnated ever anywhere. What we think of as aliens. I don't get a lot of ETs. That doesn't seem to be in my bag of tricks, but I believe there is no limit on what is available to communicate with us here.
Sure. Yeah. Catching up on chat, too many dabblers think for all fluffy, pretty, and friendly. That's not been my experience. Some of them have been pretty aggressive and assertive, and I've actually had to. We talked about that. I had to set some boundaries, and I'm like, nope, you're no longer welcome. You're out. Bye.
Yeah.
Zane is here. Hello, Zane.
Hi.
Maria, Lady Knight of Avalon, is
Hi,
here.
Maria. Good to see you.
Kiva Lyons is here. Hello, Kiva.
Hi.
And I think I just jumped. So, and Aspazia Rising said, yes, I've met a few of my guides. I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put Betsy on the spot, and you don't have to answer this, Betsy, but okay, we had medium, channel, or empath. What category would you put me in? Just, I did not tell Betsy I was going to do this, so she has every right to say, Gerald, no. And I'm not asking for validation.
Okay. So when I first met you, the first thing I recognized was you as a wizard and or magician. That was the first thing. Then as I've come to know you and your ability with tarot, I believe that you are channeling information from guides. I haven't seen you try to communicate with specific loved ones on the other side, so I'm not eliminating that from the bag of
Hmm.
tricks. But to me, you're at this time, because we haven't spent that much time like in private conversation, but I see you as a gifted and intuitive wizard. That's what I get from you.
Oh, wow. Thanks.
I think you don't fully express your ability with intuitive skills yet.
Yeah.
Um, you're doing it, but it's because the cards allow you to have this comfort zone. Like
Hmm.
I'm communicating what the cards are showing me, and if the
Hmm.
cards weren't there, you would still have a lot of information to share.
Yeah.
But it's just it's not everybody's path to want to do that, and that's
Hmm.
great. I honor that, and the ability to tap in energetically just allows all of your tarot messages to be more enriching, I think.
Hmm.
And I like it that you're able to go kind of off cue cards and say, hey, I'm getting this. I don't know why, but here's this. Because I've seen you do that too.
Hmm. Yeah. Thank you. And my apologies for putting you on the spot like that. It was sort of a nudge. Just ask her. She'll answer you. You
Yeah.
know? And I agree with you. I don't fully understand the what skills I have, because I do have some skills, but I also I do use tarot as a way to open that doorway. It is a key.
Yeah.
I like that, and it may be my security blanket,
Well,
but it works.
I think your path, because you are part of a coven, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
I think that there's some really real and valid reasons to not just want to go willy-nilly traipsing around out in the ethers. I think that's really
Yes.
valid and should be honored. And I know many people that hold that same space of caution, and I give you
Hmm.
props for that, because when we're young we do some stupid stuff sometimes, and let's hope we don't continue on with it. Those
Yes.
that's when you're running into the folks that are surrounded by a lot of parasites and hitchhikers, and sometimes it doesn't feel good to sit around with them.
Mm, yeah. Gigi said there is a very angelic presence in your aura all the time, Betsy. I
Oh,
can hardly concentrate because I'm so mesmerized by the quality of the light that's around you and coming off you.
wow. Thank you, Gigi. That's amazing.
Hmm.
Wow, makes me, well, it kind of gets me a little misty. Thank you. And
It's nice to be.
I chalk that up to my guides. My life path hasn't always been the easiest, so I chalk that up to my guides keeping me safe, because I've
And
done
I
some pretty dumb things too.
and I would also chalk it up to you and your relationship with your guides. It's a relationship. So
Yes.
you wouldn't have this light emanating from you if you didn't show up at the party as well.
Yeah.
So, um, and Kathy said, I used to astral project involuntarily when I was young. Uh, it always really frightened me, so I closed my mind to it for a long time. I'm older and wiser now and no longer afraid and more open.
That's
Yes,
cool. I
yes.
went out of body to watching a dentist drill my tooth. Man, that scared the crap out of me. I was about 11 or 12. Yeah, I can't astral project for nothing, at least not consciously. I'm sure I go
Wow.
out there tripping. And yeah, but as far as to sit down and do it, no, I was so worried about how to get back in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Naomi asked, can I hear peacocks?
Those are quail. They are little Franklin quails
Mm,
that were imported to Hawaii for hunting for game birds, and now they run rampant because there's no predators for them. We have no, well, we have feral cats, but the cats are they're kind of weenie cats around here. They're not too aggressive.
Mm.
So yeah, they're just big enough to fend off the cats, and so there's a lot of them chirping in the background.
Yeah. Thank you for your patience. I am loving everybody in chat. Thank you. Just
Yeah.
catching up.
And here, I'll say this one. Jamie did say Gerald is one of the most talented, connected magic workers I know. Wait.
Thank you.
Wait. Mine's made out of wood. It won't.
Well, and I'll put it up here too. Beth said there's a reason you use the word alchemy a lot. My opinion. Do you know why? Yes, because I pick and choose, and I do a little bit of all of it, just because it just makes sense to me. So, Brian is here, Blushing Nerd Tarot. Hello, Brian.
No.
I love the tarot as a doorway approach. It's a passage and a mirror all at once. It's a passage.
Well said.
Yes, it's a passage, a mirror, as well as a tool. So, and Heather, I wish to learn astral travel safely, of course. Yes. So, says a lot about Hawaii that your feral cats are laid back.
Yeah, there's not much for them to do.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, Debbie, Aquarius Owl. Good to see you. Yeah, symbiosis with your guides. So,
I know it's all on them. I've told people this story. You'll hear it repeated in almost every broadcast. I began reading books, going to workshops, studying, was so interested in becoming a channel when I was in my teen years. And I was like 25 years. And it wasn't until I was in my mid 50s, my guide said, okay, one day they're just like, it's time to go, get ready. And I was like, whoa, how's that going to happen? Look where we are. Mm-hmm. What's going on? How's that going to happen? What am I supposed to do? And they're like, nah, don't worry about it. We got this. And a couple months later, I had met a group of friends that meditated together for a long time, over 5 years. And they allowed me to channel. The first time I sat and meditated with them, we came out of the meditation and I was like, is everybody here a channel? Yeah, I can hear everybody. Is everybody a channel? And they all looked at me and they're like, none of us are. And I was like, huh? Oh. Well, you said this and you said that. And they're like, no, why don't you say it? And so they allowed me to start channeling for them.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And that's all on the guides, you know?
Yeah. Well, and you showed up. So
yes. Yep.
And Kathy said, I'm relatively new to YouTube and the tarot community. I'm so glad I found it. My friends in real life just don't understand.
Yeah.
And a lot of love for that, Betsy. A lot of love for that. So, and it is something that it develops over time.
It did for me. Yeah. Some people are born to it, right? What, Sai Baba was 13 and he walked out the door of his house and said, I have to go. I have work to do. At least that's the legend I heard. So,
wow.
That would have been cool. Wasn't my path, but it would have been cool. But I had a lot of mischief to make. So,
do tell, Betsy. Stay tuned. More on that later. That'll be the after show.
yeah, that'll be the after show.
Yeah.
I'll tell Gerald off camera and he can decide if I should ever speak it in public.
Yeah, you'll see me next time. My hair will be sticking straight up. I'm like, of course, I'm the kind of person who I'm the one who says, that's a horrible idea. What time?
Yeah.
You know, I'm that person.
Yeah. Well, remember, guys, you're dealing with somebody that was born in 1960. I've been from the Beatles to the Sex Pistols and back.
There you go. Yeah. So we talked about that. And can you communicate with a departed loved one on demand?
Yeah, that's interesting, right? Because a lot of the highly edited film content in the world makes it appear to be so. And I'm here to say that I have not found that to be true. But there's a but. So on demand, I made a note on that one because this one is really important to me.
Hi,
And
Candy. Candy Soul and Soil has been
oh, hi, Candy.
listening but unable to comment till now. Good to have you here.
It's great to see you here. Thanks for coming. I hope you're feeling
Yes.
well. Okay. So here, I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. Our spiritual teams, and that includes all of the beings in your team, are aware of our lives every moment, and they are always happy to communicate with us. So there are no guarantees, but it's rare to have no response at all from the spiritual realm. That is usually the people that are emotionally blocked or the ones that sit down and are committed to wanting you to reveal to them before they say anything to you. That to me is like sitting in a closet with the lights off and the door shut. I'm not going to get anything because the information is just passing through me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but what does work for me, and I know a lot of people work from photographs or from touching an object. And I can get information from an object, but for me, if someone comes to see me and they really need to connect to their mother, what works for me is first and last name, date of birth, and how long someone's been on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
When I have those things in my mind, I see a gigantic filing cabinet, a drawer will open, and some fingertips are going through the files until we get your mom, Sally.
Okay.
Face it, there's a lot of Sallys out there. I want to contact my mom. How many moms are on the planet as well
Yes.
as in the spiritual realms? So what we don't want to do is call in any energy of mom that is privy to hearing humans, some energy that is talented enough or close enough or always
Mm-hmm.
on the prowl enough that they're looking for an open doorway, a portal to come through and spread their message. Let's
Mm-hmm.
make sure we get your mom.
Yes.
Sometimes that exact person won't come through. Sometimes you'll want your mom and instead you get your grandfather. And there's a reason why those things happen, and it all makes sense in the end. So, can I just sit down and say, I want your cousin Frank?
Yeah.
And also the person's level of commitment and the strength of their emotion about making that connection plays a huge part of it. If someone is shut down because they want some kind of proof, I can't get it. If they're really committed and they are 100% in because they want to receive a message, to me, that is a very broad open doorway to allow stuff to come through.
Mm-hmm. So there's a question that's niggling on the back of my head and it's not formed yet. So I'll not try to make a question out of it. It'll show up
Give
later.
you a minute. Give you a minute.
Yeah, it's actually warm. I don't know about you, but the energy is.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's like,
Yes.
woo.
That
Okay,
happens. That happens with you and I. That's that
it does.
connection thing.
It does. I think for me, I can answer this from my experience. Can I communicate with departed loved one on demand? Um, Sometimes, if that departed loved one is actually available to, or if, let's back up. It's if the departed loved one has been trying to get the message to the querent and they are not hearing it, they,
Mm-hmm.
it's like it's that idea of we've all heard that story. It's like the person's on the roof in a flood and they're praying to God, and somebody in a canoe walks by and says, "Nope, God's got me." And then somebody in a motorboat passes by, "Nope, God's got me," all that stuff. And it's just like, hello, you're not paying attention. I have been sending all of this stuff. And sometimes I am actually um okay, I'll just say it. Sometimes I'm actually pretty forceful in delivering my message. And oftentimes, Betsy, and it freaks me out sometimes when I'm like going, you know, that thing that you did and that was blah, 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 blah. That was me and you ignored it. And it's like, and I don't know what is being talked about.
Well, but that's great because that lets your querent know for sure that their guides are with them or their loved ones are with them. Because if they saw them feeding Cheerios to a squirrel, you would never know that. How would you know
Yes,
that?
yes,
And
yes,
and even if it comes out as something shocking, if the language is a little bit rough or shocking, that's because that's that being's personality coming through that the other's going to recognize.
yes, yes. Um, Beth said, same as reading tarot, Betsy. You get someone who basically wants you to prove something to them. Sorry, that's not my job. So,
Yeah.
but, and hi, Kristen Louise. Good to see you. So,
And wait, just go up one, go to Indigo. There we
Heather,
go. Yeah. She shouldn't put people on the spot in front of cameras. Okay. Well, here's the deal with that is the camera is never shot from the back of her head and she's walking towards someone blurting something out. The camera is always shot facing her as she enters a space and says, I'm a medium and I have a message for you. Well, now, how'd those cameras get in there ahead of her if it's really that spontaneous? I'm sorry, it's a reality show. It's scripted.
there you go.
Are
It's for
the
TV.
messages genuine? Well, I imagine it's just not my. I'm just not a big fan of the way it's portrayed.
Yeah. Kathy has a question. Betsy, do you use tarot as a tool to communicate? Which is your fave deck? I realize this is a subjective, just curious.
When I sit down to do a one-on-one with someone, I do not start with cards unless my guides tell me to. I try not to accumulate decks. I could be a collector. My fave is I'm the standard RWS girl.
Mm-hmm.
I have oracle decks. I have different tarot decks, but RWS just seems to connect with me. A lot of that is down to Jonathan as a teacher, and
Mm-hmm.
you guys on TarotTube. Because I never understood tarot for the longest time, and it was really just since I've been sitting with you guys, it was like all of a sudden one day it just downloaded and in the middle of a video, and I could understand everything. I don't know how.
I love a good download, don't you?
Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
So when I am in a session, typically, no, I don't use tarot. If somebody has a life situation that's before them, and I am not, I don't do any kind of fortune telling. I don't have precognitive clair. So if somebody says, I'm trying to sell my house, how's that going to go? Then I'll be instructed typically to bring out a particular deck, and they'll tell me exactly what to do with it, and what cards go where, and face down, and then as we turn them over, we figure it out.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. And I think, okay, so Kristen Louise asked, Betsy, how do you translate messages across the different spiritual beliefs of the client, Christian versus pagan, polytheist versus agnostic, etc.?
Well, it's interesting because to me, no translation is really necessary. They're not categories. Buddha and Jesus may walk through the door together. And of course, you realize I don't get a whole lot of evangelicals,
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. Surprise.
And the only time I get people that don't believe, agnostics, atheists, or nihilists, or whatever, they are the partner or the family member of someone else who's dragged them in. So
Mm-hmm.
typically, I try not to engage them about a belief system too much. I just let the work tell the story for them. Although
Yes.
I did have one really handsome early 30s gentleman who didn't believe in none of this BS. You know, gym guy, really bulky, and with his wife for their little 20-minute obligatory reading. You know, went in Sedona, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and his grandmother came through, and halfway into that 20-minute session, he was the only one crying. He walked out the
Yeah.
door a different person. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of challenging him, I just let the work tell the story.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's probably one of the reasons that you are effective, is because you're not trying to convince anyone of anything. You're just telling information. So,
And if the session is a struggle, if what I am communicating, which I know to be correct for what I'm receiving, if it's met with so much resistance, it to me that is saying that it's not the right time for that person to hear this,
mm-hmm.
that the transformation or the change that would be required of them to accept the message coming through at that time is it's too much for them right now.
Yes.
So I allow that to be, and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully the session's recorded. That even if I do send someone away and say, you know, this is a gift from me to you, you have your recording, maybe this will make sense to you down the road. I'm hoping that at some time that information will come through to them, but it's not everybody's path to accept this kind of life. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
they're here for very specific reasons and lessons that are really third dimensionally based, and this other stuff would be a distraction to their cause. So, and
Mm-hmm.
I must allow that to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful. We have two more questions that we have planned for, and then it will answer other people's questions about being a mediumship. This is not readings. We're not doing readings. We can schedule that for a different time, or you can watch us on Jonathan's channel.
Mhm.
Like and subscribe to Jonathan. How do you trust that you are receiving spirit communication and not just making stuff up in your head? This is a really very important question. So,
Well, for me, it was journaling that helped me and automatic
mm-hmm,
writing. I was introduced to the idea of automatic writing, oh, kind of mid 1980s. And cool. Um, I began to do that, um, to sit down, ask questions, and write down what came through. And journaling too is great. You know, I'm one. I tend to be in
mm,
my own head a lot, and I'm pretty self centered. I'm like a quadruple Leo, so I think about myself a lot. So I ask a lot of questions that it's not readily available on the streets to have answered. So I'll do
mm-hmm,
that through journaling, and to me, that really helped me recognize that I was getting information from somewhere else. Oh, what really helped too was when Conversations with God was published, because that guy, you know, that was
oh,
received information. And
uh-huh,
I thought, well, if he can do it, I can do it. Maybe that's what's going on. So there's that. And trusting the communications that you're getting. And I always tell people to sit down, ask your question, or get in your space, get yourself prepared, and be ready for whatever happens, and to write it down. Or if you
mm-hmm,
prefer using a voice recorder, say it out loud, because that is you demonstrating willingness to participate with your team.
mm-hmm,
So you get Cheerios, sweet potato, brake pads. Doesn't make any sense. I'm not going to write that down. Well, yes, you are. You're willing to
mm-hmm,
follow the communication. So write it down and then sit and wait for the rest of it to come. I
yes.
channeling in front of a group of people. The first time I had to say, "Squirrel nutkin." Anybody? Squirrel nutkin. Who's got? Who's that squirrel nutkin? You? No. Okay, nobody. Well, just have to say it and let it go. Eventually,
Hmm.
squirrel nutkin, somebody's like, oh, yeah, that squirrel
Uh-huh.
thing. Yeah, it'll come back.
Wow. So what you're saying is it's similar to exercise. If you want to run a marathon, you have to stand up and put some shoes on first. And even people who are very gifted, who were born with it or whatever, and it's very strong, they still have to show up and do some work too, because it's an ongoing tuning, isn't it? I mean,
For
I would
me,
think.
yeah, for me it is so. Yeah, and to develop the trust with your team and also the trust with yourself to communicate these with other beings. For me as a human, there's a lot of judgment on myself about being right, being effective, being real, not wanting to be laughed
Hmm.
at, that whole thing. So I'm sure that was a big part of why it wasn't until I was in my mid 50s when I went public with this stuff. It was communicating with friends and family frequently enough and I was getting validations often enough that I believed what was happening to me was authentic.
Hmm. Yeah. And I think I'm going to share some my own experience is really in the last 5 or 6 years for me, when I've done readings for people, I have stopped saying, I don't know why I'm saying this, but because I used to do that, and sometimes I still do.
I
Um,
I had a student that did that, and finally I said, "You got to stop this." And she said, "Why?" I said, "Well, when was the last time you were getting a massage and the person jerked their hands off your back and said, 'I don't know why I'm doing that. Does it feel okay?'" And she, "Oh,
mhm,
oh, I've never done
yeah,
that before. Does it feel okay?" Let's just
yeah,
not say that out loud.
yeah. And part of it is to that's again developing the trust in what I'm hearing. Bye, Heather. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Um, Gigi said, "Do you ever feel like your work drains you in any way or depletes your energy? And if so, what do you do to replenish?"
I think, like with all activity, there is an energetic effort. And because it's an invisible to the three-dimensional eye energy that is being expended, that can be hard to sense. I know I have been guilty of not honoring that awareness enough and allowing myself to get run down and exhausted. So I think I'm still in a process of learning about how much I can do on any given day. And some days it's different. Um,
Mhm.
some days it's different. So, what do? I just recoup the way I would from a three-dimensional job, um, go to the buffet, go swimming. I go to the ocean a lot. Um, Veg out watching junk TV. I
Mhm.
take a nap. Whatever I would normally do to recoup my energy.
Yeah, yeah, and I think I know for me, sometimes it depends upon the type of reading or energy work that I have been doing. I've actually done. I surprise. I'm pretty well connected. I'm a Scorpio, Cancer. I'm an extrovert. I like this stuff, and and I think part of it is for me. It's like I don't necessarily realize that I'm depleted, but when I do, I go, hold that thought. And I'm going to go outside. I'm actually going to touch the ground. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'm going to get some water. I'm going to physically move.
Mm-hmm.
And that gets me back into my body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, um, Kathy has a question. I think I saw you reading that. Do you just get messages, communication when you invite it are ready, or is it all the time? Sorry if that's not a silly question. Not a silly question at all, because I bet at least 3 other people who are watching or are watching the playback had the same question.
Yeah.
So,
I myself really prefer to invite. And there may be some instances where I will have an awareness when I'm moving into spaces that's more of an empath thing. But as far as receiving information that should be shared, I myself think that's an invitation. That's my boundary on it. I, I I believe that boundaries are a beautiful thing. That I go into that quite a bit more in my workbook about why I
mhm,
think that's important. Do I want to? If I receive it all the time, that means I'm open all the time. Not
that's
interested.
exhausting.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's again going back to the very famous animal communicator who's open all the time and receiving all the time. That's a story I can't tell on camera about. I have a yeah. Anyway, yeah. Sorry.
So, and I think I think it's one of those things I have learned, and probably people learn if they do get a message, how to deliver it, if they should deliver it. Because there were times when I was like the party. I was the party favor because I was just going around and telling people stuff when I'm like, I'm totally not grounded. This is not appropriate, and it can feel a bit assertive, aggressive to be able to say to people, hey, your grandmother wants you to know this. It's like, I didn't ask for that. Step back, step back. Candy has a question. Do either of you get repeating validation signs to help with self doubt?
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, that's the squirrel nutkin thing. They'll have me say stuff, and I'll be like, "Really? That's what you want me to do?" And there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times when that urge is so strong, I can't think of anything else. So yeah, but it
Yeah,
always makes sense to the other, to the it just yeah.
yeah. So that's that is you hear something, it keeps getting louder and louder and louder until you say it out loud,
Yeah.
and then somebody picks
Why
it
am
up.
I seeing a bag of oranges? Why am I seeing a bag of oranges?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I took my grandmother oranges on my way over.
Yeah.
Makes no sense to me. Doesn't
Mm-hmm.
need to. That was a hurdle for me to get over. I did a lot of filtering for a lot of my years before I went public, and I tried to do a little filtering once I went public, and I realized that was just not happening. It was just getting in
Mm-hmm.
my way, so I had to stop filtering.
Yeah. And I think, and Candy, I think for me, sometimes the repeating validation sign of it, sometimes it's a smell that I know that I'm connected. And I know for me, I think of it as one of my tells is um, my back will tingle, my neck, the hair on the back of my neck will tingle. And that for me is that it's like, you are plugged in, pay attention, because we're not going anywhere until you do something with this. And so if I hope that helps, Candy,
And
a
there's
bit.
also, too, just on the broader perspective of synchronicities, daily synchronicities. That happens to me so often. Yesterday I swam. I mostly wanted to just clear my head, straighten out my back muscles, and just enjoy being with the mama and picking up my little random bits of garbage and little scraps of paper, small bits of broken boats, whatever I could pick up and put in my fanny pack while I was swimming. And I was about to go in, and then I thought, no, wait, I need to go out one more time. And I went out one more time. I found 2 little bits of broken trash and a dollar bill floating around in the ocean.
Here's your wages. Thank you for doing
Yeah,
that.
yeah, paid in cash, and I did get a pretty
Love that.
decent pair of sunglasses too. So
There you go. There you go.
yeah.
And Beth said it takes courage not to filter.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
Yeah. So our last question, because I mean this has been so good, and yeah, you got paid.
It
um,
smells a little salty, but I'm going to spend it anyway.
I think so. Betsy, what is your role as a medium?
This one is the way I wrap it up in a nutshell is that I am like the rent a car sitting out on the lot. It hurts every now and then. Somebody pops in and we go for a spin. They take the vehicle where it needs to go and then they bring it back to the lot. Not that
Hmm.
somebody's possessing me. That is not what I am saying. I'm the chauffeur as well as the vehicle, I suppose. But the guide tells me where the message needs to go, who needs to hear it, and back. I have no idea who's going to come to me. So my role as a medium is to serve my guides in delivering the messages to the appropriate parties that need to hear them. They put those people before me. I don't seek them out.
Hmm. Is I think one of the things, if I think about myself as a medium, one of the things that is my responsibility is to tune their message to the recipient to make sure that it's received. And
Mm-hmm.
and that's different than filtering. It's not filtering. It's like it's tuning in the antenna to make sure that what needs to be heard is heard appropriately.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, um, gosh, um, Betsy, this has been wonderful. All of Betsy's links are below. Please like and subscribe. You're doing more stuff with your sister, Penny.
First Fridays we do live readings. It's 6 o'clock Hawaii time, 9 o'clock Pacific time, and noon Eastern. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
First Fridays of the month. We're doing that.
Yes. Yes. Um, Anything you want to tell people before we leave?
No, just thank you all for being there in the audience today and participating in our chat. And thank you, Gerald, so much for being such a gracious host. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're
Um,
wonderful. Thank you.
yeah.
Um, Deb H, Purple Elephant Deb H. This is a fascinating discussion. I've been lurking. Love all you beautiful beings. Thank you. You're very welcome.
Thank you.
And Kathy, Tortoise Shell Moon, said, this has been so awesome. Thank you. I know I've asked like 50 questions. You did not ask 50 questions. I can go back and verify that if I need to. You didn't ask 50 questions. But I've been so helpful and informative. I'm fascinated by this.
Awesome.
You're welcome, Candy and Beth and Lisa. Thank you, Candy. Yes, thank you, Naomi. Love you, Betsy. Gigi
Love you
says.
too, Gigi. Yes,
Oh,
I would say a mahalo nui loa to everyone. That's thank you very much out here.
oh, wow. Thank you very much. Um, Now we're with Jonathan. I should look to make sure I know. We are doing readings with Jonathan Daly on the 26th, which is in 2 weeks, because next week at this my time, it's back and forth with Jamie and Gerald. So that'll be fun. And I think maybe Betsy and I will talk about another laugh and learn, perhaps about grounding.
Yeah, let's do it.
We'll do that. And I am happy to share that on Monday, I am doing this is the Dream Vision Tarot. And so I'm doing a deck casual with Nancy from Paper Moon Tarot and Richie from Long Man Tarot, 2 o'clock Eastern. And Jonathan's channel is called Jonathan Daly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dailey. So
Lisa, my birthday's 24th. So it's a birthday party. on the
Yes.
26th. Yep.
So, happy birthday in 2 weeks. So, oh,
Oh,
you love that deck. Well, I'm a fan of it too, and there might be something special going on with that. So I'm, just saying. So, happy birthday,
thank
Betsy.
you.
Liminal Lark, hello. Thank you, Gerald and Betsy. I only caught the last 15. I look forward to viewing from the start. Thank you. Appreciate
Thanks for
that.
jumping in. Thank you.
Yes, and everybody like and subscribe to Betsy's channel. Links are below, and
On the 20th, I have my friend Elaine Bogard on. She's a fertility shaman. So if that interests anybody, she'll be on my
ooh,
channel.
love that. Well, and because now everybody is liking and subscribing, they're ringing the bell so that they get notified when you go live.
Yeah.
They'll do that. So
I don't have the thumbnail posted. It's coming on Thursday. I'm going to put it up just because sometimes if it's too far out, people forget.
yeah. So all right. Hang out here, Betsy. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all so
Bye.
much.